having more than 30 years of enriching experience in business development, retail banking, financial markets, and financial planning. He is also an empaneled council member, consultant, advisor with global research and consulting firms. He was Senior Vice President and Head Investment Product Group for Axis Bank and CEO at Sujan Consulting LLP. Presently, he is associated with Sky High Advisory LLP as co-founder and consultant, which is responsible for providing investment solutions to retail, institutional, corporate clients. For our webinar, Mr. Pandey will be sharing the banker's perspective about the Stand Up India scheme. With this brief introduction, I would like to invite Mr. Deepak Pandey to share his views. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ananya. Thank you, Madhu Madam. Thank you, Ashwini, also for inviting me. So after the two expert speakers on the food processing industry have spoken, and there was a motivational speaker also, now it is a turn of a banker. So let us talk about the Stand Up India, whatever thoughts which have come in your mind, probably how those thoughts can be materialized. And for that, you need the finances. Without finance, probably we cannot set up an industry or maybe a service sector unit or maybe a trading activity or maybe non-farm activity. So let us know about the Stand Up India scheme, how it is going to benefit you in setting up what you want.
Deepak ji, there is an arrow on the left hand side. You can click on that to move on to the next slide.
Yeah, I am doing that only. It's not moving.
Oh, okay. It's on the main screen only, right?
Yeah.
So try resharing the presentation.
Pardon?
Try resharing the presentation. Stop the sharing and then try it again.
It must have hung the screen, so you can just stop the sharing and reshare again.
Yeah. Yeah, so we come to the Stand Up India scheme. This was the scheme which was launched 5 years back, or maybe you can say 5 years, 2 days, because day before yesterday it completed 5 years. And it has now been extended for another 5 years. So it will be for 2026. So what is the objective of this scheme? Objective of the scheme is to promote the greenfield project in the sectors of manufacturing, services, trading, and agriculture allied activity. Agriculture allied means it will be non-farm activity. Farm activities are not covered under agri allied. The dairy or the poultry, these are the activities which are considered as allied activities. And the scheme is open to the SC, ST, and the women entrepreneurs. So the budding women entrepreneurs, probably they can look forward to setting up enterprise by availing a loan under the Stand Up India scheme. This scheme is not available to the existing units, and even if you have an existing unit and you intend to expand the operations or maybe the investments, then also this scheme will not be applicable. The initial objective of the scheme was to fund at least 2.5 lakh borrowers through 1.25 lakh bank branch network. So there are scheduled commercial banks, like the SIDBI speaker told in the beginning, And what was envisaged that at least 2 borrowers from each of the branch, which will take the number to 2.5 lakh. What is that we have achieved in the first 5 years? So banks have sanctioned almost 26,000 crore rupees, or you can say 25,586 crore to be precise, to 1,14,322 beneficiaries. So that beneficiary number is 1,15,000. So we have reached half of the target in the, almost half of the target in the first 5 years. Out of that, if you look at the women entrepreneurs, that number itself is more than 80%, 93,094 women beneficiaries. They have an outstanding of almost 21,200 crores as on date. That is after completion of 5 years. Now let's look at the eligibility criteria, which is very, very important. The individual, if it is a borrower or a prospect is an individual, he has to be either a scheduled caste or a scheduled tribe or a women entrepreneur. So here it is applicable for women entrepreneur. But if there is a woman who is from SC/ST, that also will be covered. And this is only for the greenfield project. In the banking terminology, a greenfield project means a new project, and a brownfield project is an existing project. So please remember these terminologies. Why? What is greenfield? What is brownfield? An existing project is brownfield. A new project is called as greenfield. And non-farm sector, that is other than the farm sector, you can set up the unit either in the manufacturing sector, or it can be service sector or trading or agriculture allied activity, not agriculture activity. So in case there is a proprietorship unit, partnership unit, or maybe a private limited company which intends to avail the loan under this scheme, then that is also possible, but provided the stake of the women entrepreneurs or SC/ST has to be at least 51%. So they should have a controlling stake in the unit. Then that falls under the eligibility criteria. The prospect who is intending to avail the loan, he should not be a defaulter with any bank or lending institution. So CIBIL score and all that will be checked. And if it is found that there is a default, then obviously the proposal will not be considered by the bank. There is always a primary security. So if you are starting, let us say, a beauty parlor, so whatever equipments you are going to buy for a beauty parlor, those will be primary security for the bank. And if you are offering any additional security in the form of mortgage of the flat or maybe a house, then that becomes the collateral security. Otherwise, guarantee of third party or even the loans which are provided under Stand Up India scheme, they are covered by the credit guarantee scheme, which is run by CGT SME. And if you are eligible under that scheme, then if that credit cover is available, then you need not give any collateral security. Quantum of the loan. Here we are talking about the composite loan, because for the, if you are going for a manufacturing unit, then there will be a requirement of plant and machinery. If you are going for a service sector, let us say that you set up a Xerox shop, you will have to buy a Xerox machine. If you start a computer unit, then you will have to either purchase laptops or computers. So that will become the equipment. So that also falls under service sector. If you are setting up a trading unit, probably other than office and furniture, nothing else will be required. So in that case, probably working capital will be enough, but otherwise you will require a term loan. And when you avail term loan plus working capital, then that is called as a composite loan. And this facility or the quantum of the loan should be between 10 lakh and 100 lakhs. So it has to be 10 lakhs minimum, or maximum is 100 lakhs. If you are taking working capital finance from the bank, then bank will issue a RuPay debit card, so that you can operate your cash credit or maybe an overdraft account for the purpose of meeting your cash or day-to-day requirement. And the interest that will be charged by the bank will not be more than 3% over and above the MCLR for the tenor for which you are availing the loan. Suppose you are taking a loan for 7 years, then what is the MCLR for 7 years for the bank? Let us say the MCLR for 7 years is 8%, then the maximum interest the bank can charge is 11%. If the MCLR is 7%, the maximum interest the banks can charge is 10%, but not necessarily this is on the upper side. Lot of banks are there. In fact, I have spoken to a couple of banks. They are already charging 1% over the MCLR for 1 year tenor. So for the working capital requirement, which will always be renewed over a period of 12 months, the interest that will be charged will be maybe 1% over MCLR or maybe base rate or 2% over that maximum. The margin money. Margin money, you will have to get at least 10% as your self contribution. Whereas the scheme requires 15% as a margin money. So the question comes is from where you will get additional 5%. So 5% can come from the state government or central government subsidy schemes, and for that you will have to approach maybe a district industry center if you are setting up a manufacturing unit or service unit. They will advise you that what kind of schemes, or maybe if you are undergoing a training from SIDBI or NABARD, they also will inform you that which scheme will be applicable for getting the subsidy. Subsidy can be given by the government in advance, or if it comes thereafter, that is after the disbursement of loan, then it will go into the loan accounts. So if the margin money requirement is 15%, 10% will be your contribution, 5% will come as a subsidy from the central or state government scheme, and 85% will be funded by the bank. If you are able to get higher contribution, the funding will get reduced to that extent. Repayment of the term loan will be maximum for a period of 7 years. So within 7 years, you have to pay the loan, and there will be a moratorium period of 18 months. Because in the manufacturing unit, there is a time which is required, or gestation period which is required for commencement of production. So for that purpose, the moratorium is given by the bank. When the repayment doesn't start, only interest has to be serviced. And all these cases which fall under the Stand Up India scheme, the bankers normally they attend a district level credit committee meeting on quarterly basis, where the progress under this is reviewed by the government authorities. Generally, it is by the collector and the lead district manager, because there is a bank which is the lead bank for every district. So lead district manager and collector together, they hold such meetings for reviewing the progress. So it is not that the scheme is there in the operational and nobody is reviewing the progress of the schemes. There is a progress review, and that is the reason why 1,15,000 cases have already been sanctioned and disbursed by the commercial banks. Now, this is the definition of the micro and small enterprise. Whatever you want to set up, either under a manufacturing sector or under a service sector. For trading sector, there is no such definition. So in the manufacturing sector, if your investment in plant and machinery is up to 25 lakh, that will be termed as a micro enterprise. And if the investment is more than 25 lakhs and doesn't exceed 500 lakhs, then that is called as a small enterprise. So for this scheme, Stand Up India, this is limited to only 100 lakhs. This is the definition as per the MSME policy of the government. But for Stand Up India scheme, it will be 100 lakhs. So your investment in plant and machinery has to be only up to 100 lakhs to be called as a small enterprise. And if you are setting up a unit in the service sector, the micro enterprise, if your investment in the equipment, I said there is a difference. Suppose you are setting up an extraction unit, let us say that is an oil extraction unit, then you will require plant and machinery for oil extraction unit. Then that will be called as a manufacturing activity. If you are setting up a beauty parlor, if you are setting up, let us say, dentist unit and all, so those will be the equipment. So that will fall under service sector, and there the investment on the equipment, if it doesn't exceed 10 lakhs, then that will be micro enterprise. And if it doesn't exceed 200 lakhs, for the purpose of this scheme, it will be restricted to only 100 lakhs. Then that is called as a small enterprise. Now, the question is that where to approach for the inquiry and for availing the loans. You can directly approach the branch of any scheduled commercial banks. They will definitely advise you, because the head office has already issued a circular to all the commercial banks, and all commercial banks are aware. If they are not aware, you tell them that you intend to avail the loan. They may not be knowing about the Stand Up India scheme, but they are aware that they have to finance, they have to have target, and they have to achieve those targets. So you are a prospect for them, and they will assess your requirement, and accordingly they will fund you your project. And otherwise, the inquiry is possible through a Stand Up India portal, which is standupmitra.in. That is can be accessible from the home, from branch, through LDM office, to NABARD and SIDBI. There are some Stand Up Connect centers also, which are set up by SIDBI and NABARD. They also help you. If you are there in the district, then the district manager, he also can guide you about how you can avail a loan and how you can be eligible. If you access the portal, there are 10 questions on the portal, and based on your responses to those 10 questions, you will be categorized either as a ready borrower or a trainee borrower. So depending on your responses, you will fall under either of the categories. If you are a ready borrower, you can directly approach the bank for availment of the loan. If you are a trainee borrower, there is a hand-holding support or training support which will be provided to you by SIDBI. There are 79 offices, NABARD, which are 503 offices. So you can get a hand-holding or training support through these offices, and they will issue a certificate which will make you eligible for availing. Eligible means obviously there will be assessment thereafter, but yes, you will be trained on whatever you have thought in your mind of setting up a unit. NABARD, with the support of SIDBI, they keep organizing the district level events also for the stakeholders. That is, those who have availed the loans, those who are already running the units, and these stakeholders, they come, they share the best practices, they share the success stories, or they review it. They will tell you about how to solve the problems and how the new ones can be guided by the existing successful entrepreneurs. Banks will determine what is the requirement whenever they give the loans. If they are giving you the loan for the manufacturing unit, probably there will be a raw material, there will be stock which will be held. So bank will ask for the stock statement, bank will ask for the insurance of the plant and machinery as well as the raw material. There will be some unit inspection also which will be periodically carried out, and there will be a processing fees also. So before we go to the documents required, let me share with you that what normally banks look at. Banks normally look at, when the proposal comes to them, they always look at that whether you have any background in the area where you are commencing your business or your enterprise. If you have a background, it means you are qualified, you are most likely to succeed. If you are a fresher, then they will say whether you have done any certification course, whether you have obtained a training from the NABARD or SIDBI, because after the training, there will be certificate which will be issued so that you are trained in that business or for that setting up for that enterprise. Then what bank else look forward to? Banks always look forward to that if you are setting up a manufacturing unit or maybe a service unit or maybe a trading unit, then whether you have your own space, office space, or maybe an industrial space if you are setting up a manufacturing unit. Or otherwise, if you are setting up on a leased premises, normally for the industrial setup, or maybe for the service sector, there can be MIDC, which can give the space on lease basis, or maybe SEZ can give under the service sector on lease basis. After that, when you submit your projections, because banks will definitely require, and it is a greenfield project, so there are no existing financials, but you have to give what will be the projections in the next 1 year, 2 years, and if you are taking the term loan, then for the period of the term loan, that what is that you are expecting, how will you attain the projected growth, or maybe whatever you are showing projections, how will you achieve. Then they will see that what is the availability of labor, what is the availability of manpower, where you are setting up the unit, whether electricity is available there or not. So these are the things which normally bankers see. Then bankers also see that what are the financial ratios, whatever financial statements like profit and loss statement or balance sheet or a cash flow statement. Normally these three statements are called as financial statement. So if you have submitted this, what are the financial ratios? Generally the bankers, they see what is the current ratio. The current ratio has to be at least 1.10. What is current ratio? Current ratio is nothing but current assets divided by current liability. That is current ratio. Then they see the debt equity ratio. That is what is the loan which you are availing and what is your own contribution. Debt is nothing but the loan and equity is nothing but your own contribution. So normally banks look for 3:1. That if you are contributing 25%, 75% will be given as a loan. Banks can even go up to 80-20 also. Bank can give you loan up to 80% also. Here in this scheme, it can go up to 85% also. But higher the debt equity ratio, your scoring will be lower because banks will score you on the various parameters. Then if you have taken a term loan, there will be a debt service coverage ratio. Then there will be an interest coverage ratio, and that will be seen. And normally DSCR has to be 1.25. That is your operating income, net operating income divided by our debt, that is the loan repayment in a year. That has to be 1.25:1. Interest coverage ratio, that is total operating income divided by interest, that has to be 1.5. So these are the things which normally the banker would be looking at when you are submitting the financial statements to the banker. And collateral is one thing. If you are covered under the credit guarantee scheme, CGT, SME, then there will not be any collateral required. But if you are not covered, then there will be collateral required and your scoring will be according to that. If you are giving more than 100% of the collateral, that is more than 100% of the loan amount, then your scoring will be higher. If you are giving 100%, scoring will be little less. If you are giving 50%, it will be even less. But you have to reach a threshold which are different for the different banks. So these are the parameters which normally banker look at when a proposal reaches to them. Now these are the list of the document, not that every borrower has to submit all this list. And I have considered manufacturing sector, I have considered service sector, I have considered a trading unit, I have considered allied activity. All these documents are required when you are doing all four activity. For one activity, there will be much lesser documentation which will be required. So you need not worry that so many documents are required. These documents are readily available, like identity, address proof, whatever is your business address, whether your own or you've taken a lease. Lease means then leave and license agreement will be required. Your own means your title documents will be required. If you are with a private limited company or a partnership LLP, then the required documents will be a memorandum and article of association or maybe a partnership deed. If your business premises is not owned, then the leave and license agreement will be required. If you are setting up a manufacturing unit, then NOC from pollution control unit will be required. For service unit, for trading unit, or maybe agri processing unit, this may not be required. Financial statements will be required. For working capital, it will be for 2 years. And if you are taking a term loan, then it will be for the period of term loan. If you are falling under SC/SC category, then that certificate will be required. If you are setting up a private limited company or a LLP, then certificate of incorporation will be required, which will establish the ownership pattern of the unit. If you are setting up a manufacturing unit, then the Udyog Aadhaar card issued by the MIDC, that will be required. If you are offering any collateral securities, then the title deeds will be required. Loan application form will be required in all the cases. Then the profile of the unit, which will cover the names of the promoters, directors or partners, what is the activity, what is the addresses of the office, and maybe identity documents of the promoters or directors. Last 3 years of financial statement of the associate or group companies, if a new associate company is taking a loan, which will be a greenfield project. That is, the existing directors will not be there on that company, the new company. Fresh or new directors or maybe relatives of the directors, they also can avail the loan if they are floating an associate company. If you are taking a higher amount of loan, that is more than 25 lakhs, then you will have to submit a project report. If you are availing a term loan, then what will be the type of plant and machinery, what will be the supplier, what will be the quotation, what will be the capital capacity utilization which you are assumed, whether your capacity will be 50%, 60%, 70%, what kind of manpower you have taken into account, and what are the projected financials. And if it is manufacturing unit, then the process, what will be the manufacturing process. Since this webinar is on the fruit processing sector, I want to share with you, last week only, Government of India has approved productivity link incentive, that is PLI scheme for the food processing sector. And the amount which will be sent or which will be given in the form of incentive is 10,900 crores. So that is a big amount. There are only 13 sectors which are covered under PLI as of now. So this is a big boost which has happened on the last Wednesday only. So these are the units which can come under the food processing sector. That is a sunrise sector at the moment. You can have dairy and milk product. You can have cereal food. You can have caramel color from sugar, flour mill, garlic powder production, sweet scented supari, coconut oil extraction from dried coconut, cold storage facility, wine processing, packaged water, frozen foods. So these are the opportunities. This is only an indicative list, not an exhaustive list. Exhaustive lists, you go to